कानुकम्पाधृतविग्रहं वै ईशावतारं परमेशमिड्यं तं रामकृष्णं शिरसा नमामः. Namaste and welcome to the ninth talk in the series Guided Meditation for Beginners, through which we are exploring the inner dimension of our being, how to control the mind, how to have or develop that power of inner observation through this technique of meditation. As usual, we will start with the guided meditation practical session. So I hope you are all nicely seated wherever you are for a 10-15 minute meditation session. Let us meditate. Sit upright, keeping your back, neck and head in a relaxed upright position. You may put your hands on your knees or in your lap. Ensure that your body is in a relaxed position, upright position. Visualize that your whole body is strong and healthy. Direct your attention to various parts of limbs of your body, right from the big toes to the top of the head. And as you focus on each part, visualize that it is strong, healthy, and luminous. Focus on your toes, heels, ankles, calf muscles, knees, thighs, back, stomach, chest, shoulders, arms, elbows, wrist, palms, fingers. Focus on your neck, face, head, and the whole body. Visualize the whole body to be strong, healthy, pure, and a temple of the divine. Through the process of meditation, we are going to visualize and install the divine within this temple of the human body. Now focus on your breath. Breathe in a rhythmic manner with deep inhalation and exhalation. As you breathe in, visualize that you are breathing light that fills every cell of your body, every corner of your mind. When you breathe out, you expel all stress, tension, negativity, physically, mentally. You may repeat the universal sound Om as you breathe in and out in a rhythmic way. Do this for 3 times. Now let's pray for the welfare of ourselves and all beings. Pray to the divine for devotion, for spiritual discrimination, for the light of knowledge and purity. May all be happy, may all be peaceful, May all seek the divine within themselves and around themselves. Send out your thoughts to your right. See your powerful thoughts radiating out into the universe, touching everyone and uplifting them. Send your prayers to your left, in front of you, behind you, above, below, and in all directions. With you as the center, visualize this light of prayers radiating in all directions for the good and welfare of all beings throughout the universe. Now withdraw your mind from the external physical material world and focus it into the center of your heart. Therein, visualize a beautiful lotus, fully bloomed, full of freshness and fragrance. In the center of that lotus, visualize a flame, steady like a lamp kept in a windless place, radiating its effulgence in all directions, illuminating every corner of your mind, every cell of your body with its effulgence. Feel that you are bathed in the divine, healing, purifying light. You may replace that flame with any divine form of your choice. Visualize that the living form is living, full of grace, full of compassion, eager to bestow the choicest spiritual gifts to you. That is our higher self. Imagine that the light emanating from the divine form, filling your whole body and mind, and radiating beyond your body and mind, is the light of spiritual knowledge that dispels the darkness of ignorance. It's a light of purity that fills you with holiness through and through. It's a light of supreme peace that fills you with serenity and tranquility. It's a light of absolute bliss that fills you with joy and contentment within. It's a light of strength that makes you strong physically, mentally, emotionally, morally, and spiritually. Focus on that divine living form within you. If you're initiated, you have a mantra. Otherwise, you may repeat the universal sound Om, or if you wish, Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya Namah. Keep your mind anchored on that living divine presence within you and repeat the mantra. A part of your mind will watch the repetition of the mantra. If the mind wanders away anywhere, gently bring it back to the divine within you. this way, at the end of a meditation, you will offer the results or the fruits of the meditation at the feet of the Divine within your own heart. That is your worship. This is called internal worship, manas. During meditation, we try to establish, strengthen, and maintain a very strong relationship with that living presence that is within us. That is what we're trying to do. Just like in a temple, we build a beautiful temple, beautifully designed, and then on the beautiful altar, you place an image of the Divine. It could be a photo, it could be a statue, decorate it, and then you do arati, you offer the incense and various food items and sing praises in the form of stotras and bhajans, and feel that divine presence in that temple. Here, the whole body itself is the temple, and that consciousness that is inside us, living, throbbing, pulsating, alive, that is the Divine. It can take any form that you choose according to the mind and the temperament of the devotee. If you're a Christian, you can commune with it and imagine it to be Christ or the Father in heaven. If you're a Muslim, that is Allah for you. If you're a Buddhist, that's Buddha for you. If you're a Hindu, it's Rama, Krishna, Ramakrishna, Divine Mother, any form. It doesn't matter. The formless can assume any form to suit the temperament of the devotee, and we will respond in the way we approach it. What is important is that it should not be a lifeless statue. It should be awake and alive. How do we do that? Well, we have to understand that there is some power within us that energizes, that activates this body. When you get up in the morning, some energy flows and all the senses begin to function and the mind begins to think and you are up and doing something. And in the evening or at night when you go to sleep, that power withdraws and the body doesn't, just falls flat. The senses don't function, the mind doesn't function, we don't even know who we are, where we are. But we are. That consciousness that makes all these wonderful things happen through this being of the human being or any being. It's a living consciousness and a small spark of that infinite ocean that is manifested in this wave of this body. Our conception of the divine or God, when we use the word divine, is that ocean of consciousness which the wave feels underneath it. The energy comes, radiates and pulsates through all levels. What we are trying to do is to establish that relationship and that connection. The wave does not feel that it's an independent something floating on its own, but it is very much part of that ocean of consciousness. And out of that consciousness it has come. By that consciousness it is sustained. Into that consciousness it will resolve. That reverse engineering or reconnecting to the foundation of our being is what we are trying to do that. But because we are human beings, we can commune with another living being in our own reflection. So we visualize and imagine God to be another human being endowed with all excellences, kindness and compassion, and love and affection and devotion and all those type of things, qualities. Why do we do that? So that our mind becomes attracted to it. Now naturally the mind, or let me go back. In our Vedanta scriptures we say we have not only one body but three bodies. The gross body that we are all very much familiar with is called the Sukshma Sharira. Sthula Sharira, gross physical body. Behind that, finer than this, is the subtle body called the Sukshma Sharira, the mental body. Even finer than that is a spiritual body called Karan Sharira. Beyond that is the pure consciousness, what we call the Atman. We are essentially that Atman that has become enclosed in these three bodies. So, our real identity is that infinite existence, knowledge, bliss. Infinite purity, beauty, goodness, divinity. That is what each one of us are essentially. But we have become embodied, not with one body, three bodies. Sthul, Sukshma, Kara. How is it? It's like the physical body is like solid ice. You can hold it, you can touch it, feel it. But that same ice, when it melts, it becomes what considered that to be the subtle body. The substance is same. H2O is present in both of them. In one, it's all frozen in one particular place. It's got a shape, a cube or something. But when it is in water form, it takes the form of the vessel. The water molecules have more freedom in a liquid form. And that same substance can again become vaporized as water vapor. That we can say to be the Karan Sharira. Same substance but different degrees of materialization, crystallization. So we are spirits who have become materialized, so to say, and the material has to revert back to its original source to be spiritualized. The middle layer is where the mind is, mental body. Normally that mind is directed outwards through the Sthula Sharira, gross body, through the sense organs, and is engaged with various perceptions and experience in the outside world. The same mind in meditation, during meditation, we try to turn it around and focus it towards the original source, the Atman. So that's why we find a quiet place where there's not much distraction. It could be a mountain cave, it could be your own nice room, any place where that external distractions are not there. We take a steady position so that the body remains and is not disturbed and distracted. We focus and make our breathing rhythmic, because the rhythm of the mind, of the breath and the mind are interrelated. As you make your breathing calmer, you'll find your breath, your mind also becomes calmer. These things are physical things that we can do. But meditation proper is more about controlling the mind and redirecting it towards that light of consciousness that is within us. And in the beginning, it's not an easy task, because the mind is conditioned habitually to go outwards. We have not trained ourselves from childhood in that way. So it's not going to immediately cooperate. For a moment, there might be a little bit of inward concentration, and then there will be a break and the mind again goes outside. Now, this is where in meditation, people who are meditating, they complain, Swamiji, we find the mind is extremely restless. For a while it was focused within, and then God knows when it went out and how long, and by the time I got it, it had taken a world tour for 5 minutes. All over the place it had gone. It's very, very difficult to control. So that is accepted, but through practice, abhyasa and vairagya, dispassion to the things outside, because the most beautiful thing is inside. And if we can educate ourselves through reasoning that the most cherishable, desirable source of our being is within us, then the mind will slowly turn around and get a taste and a glimpse and begin to cooperate. One way or the other, through reasoning, through practice, we have to cajole this mind. This is our only tool that we have. We can't be too harsh and too rush with this. But systematic, like a child keeps on running out. If the parents explain to them nicely, then the child cooperates. This mind is like a restless child like that. We have to take care of it, strengthen it, and in time it will grow up into a mature adult, so to say, that will help us. So this mind is now to be directed inwards. The second thing is, we have explained this and I will repeat this, is there are two functionalities in the mind. One is that active mind, which is trying to visualize the divine form, and you can make it a little bit more interesting. You can imagine that within you is a canvas. The mind is a canvas, and with the help of the strokes of a brush, you are drawing that particular divine form as you probably have seen it in a photograph or in image. And with all attention and great devotion you are putting there. And as it takes form, it's not simply a picture on a canvas, but it's a living form. A power of imagination and visualization can convert a lifeless thing into life. So as we begin to engage with that form, that's the important thing. We begin to engage with it. We can talk with it because it's not simply a lifeless material thing. It's consciousness. You speak to it, it responds to you. And in time, through devotion and concentration, that form that which you are imagining becomes alive, responds, talks, and that's what the devotee is trying to do. But in the beginning, the mind has to be slowly, gently weaned away from the outside things, the apparent sources of happiness and all that, and guided and directed inwards. So there's a part of the mind which is doing the repetition, the action part of it. Repetition of the mantra, visualizing of the divine form. There is another part of the mind that is watching this process. We have all of us these two functionalities. One is the active mind. The other one is the reflective mind, the watchman, so to say. So as I'm speaking to you, I have got some ideas and thoughts which I'm trying to communicate to you. I encode them in words and phrases and sentences and with examples and all those things. And I'm talking. But there's another part of my mind which is watching this whole process, which is saying, have I done enough? Shall I continue? Or what words and phrases should I choose? Now this second part is the watchman, so to say, the buddhi part in us. In meditation, we want to strengthen this second part. So, when you're repeating the mantra or doing the visualization of the divine form, have that watchman always on the alert, watching the repetition. And if you have that alertness, the moment you slip, the mind goes out, immediately the watchman, so to say, catches hold of it and brings it back and says, but if for any reason the watchman is not alert and awake, just like in the chariot analogy, the buddhi, the sarathy, if he's not holding the ropes very tight and strong, then the horses take off. So this buddhi is the Arjuna, of Sri Krishna in the example of this chariot that we see. That is our guide and best friend. We have to befriend it, we have to awaken it, it should be very alert. So at the time of meditation, there should be a heightened degree of alertness. Do not simply think that I am sitting down there and the body is calm and the mind is calm and I am meditating, and then something happened and after 15-20 minutes I came around and it was feeling so good and felt it was so nice. But I do not know what happened in this 15 minutes. That mind had sunk down to a lower level. It did not have that alertness and consciousness. That is not meditation. In the technical term, it's called laya. And one should not keep on doing it, otherwise it becomes a habit. And you sit down for meditation, you'll have a half an hour sleep and come out and think that's meditation. No, when that happens, when we, at the end of half an hour, whatever, we felt that yes, everything is nice and calm. Even after sleep, we feel that nice and calmness there. But I do not know what was happening. Then one must break that habit. As soon as that happens, you get up, take a little walk, drink some water, rub your eyes, freshen up, and then with an alert mind, try to control that mind. That would be meditation, not the other one. So that is one of the problems that meditators in the beginning sometimes face. That watchman that we are trying to train during meditation, so to say, has to be awake not through meditation, but all the time during the day. So keep a part of the mind alert to the idea of the divine that is within us in the midst of everyday activities. It's possible. Okay, because all the time your whole mind is not concentrated on something. You know, you're driving, you are sitting down somewhere, just rather than gazing outside, can you remind yourself that there is some consciousness in me and I'm beginning to be aware of the divine presence in me. That awareness, sense of awareness, that is something in me. Even that that is functioning through my senses. I am not seeing, the eyes don't see, eyes is an instrument, but there's a power that flows through that. Because of that, the eyes see. Even the thoughts that flow in my mind, they are just not, they're material things, energy forms, but something is energizing that, making it, something is energizing it, something is a light of consciousness is illuminating it. Upanishad said pratibodh viditam matam. Bodha means every thought. Pratibodh, every thought, the sequence of thoughts that are there, something is illuminating that, and we say that's a thought that has come, or I have thought about it, or I am manipulating that thought. Thoughts are things in the mental space, but something is illuminating that. That light of consciousness, when it's directed on the thought, that thought becomes illumined for us. So we are wanting to focus on that light of consciousness that is in us. And that comes from the divine source of the Atman that's inside us. To maintain a degree of consciousness and alertness on the divine presence in the midst of everyday activity, whatever we are doing, it's itself a spiritual discipline. And if you do that, you'll find that at the hour of meditation, that mind is more ready, better ready, and you'll have a good, better quality of meditation. So, when we close our eyes and focus on the divine presence inside us, during hour of meditation is a special type of practice that we do, but during the whole day, when you are wide awake and engaged in other activities, it is the same mind that is engaged there, and it's the same consciousness that is shining through that mind there. If we can maintain a part of that mind on that divine consciousness in the midst of our everyday activity, that itself will be a great spiritual discipline. So the two must support each other. How do you know our meditation is very good or is improving? By the frequency during the day, in the midst of everyday activities, how often are we reminded or become aware of that divine consciousness that we are practicing during meditation, visualizing during meditation. So you might be driving and suddenly you felt just that thought comes in your mind. Okay, there is something inside me. That is a good output telling you your meditation is good, and under in the subconscious, that new thought pattern is beginning to work. Now and then it pops up to the surface and you say, I remember that. How do we continue that and maintain that undercurrent? So, the three, one is your very controlled session of meditation. The second is in the everyday activities. You try to maintain some degree of recollection. It could be repetition of the mantra that you are doing again and again and again. And the third one is when you go to sleep. Before you drift on to sleep, repeat that mantra. Lie down, just like instead of sitting and meditating, you lie down and go through this visualization process, and in the heart you feel the divine presence is there, alive, who is your watchman, protector, guiding and everything. And commune with that and repeat the mantra with concentration and drift into sleep with that repetition. You'll find that in the night, sometimes you'll wake up and you'll find that the mantra you might be repeating. It's working in the subconscious level. And you wake up in the morning, you'll find a greater degree of peace and calmness and refreshment because you have been connecting yourself to a greater source within you. So, if we are alert to the spiritual idea, we can, and watchful and sincere about it, then we can convert all means to our spiritual advantage to take little steps towards a spiritual goal. So we talked about this today, importantly, that we have this sthula body, gross body, behind that is the mental body, subtle body, in which the contents are thoughts and ideas. We want the positive ideas that direct the mind upwards, not the negative or material ideas that direct the mind out towards the physical external world. And then there's a spiritual body or Karan Sharira, and behind that is the light of the Atman, which shines through all these layers. These three layers, body, mind, how much light penetrates and percolates through this depends on the purity of these three bodies. So that's why it's not that we are going to install on Atman bringing from outside. That Atman consciousness is there all the time. The manifestation of that consciousness in different people depends on the purity of this body-mind complex. This body-mind complex is part of nature or Prakriti. It's made of three gunas, Sattva gun, Rajogun, Tamagun. Different people have the body-mind in different combinations of it. Some are very sattvic, some are very tamasic, some are very rajasic. Accordingly, the light of consciousness and beauty and purity that's within us shines out. So the task is to purify this body-mind complex called Chitta Shuddhi. As it becomes purer and purer and purer through our spiritual disciplines, the light, the ever-present light that's within us shines brighter and brighter and brighter. What's the difference between an enlightened person and ordinary person? Is in an enlightened person, a Buddha, a Ramakrishna, incarnation of God, that light is shining in its all its glory like the brilliant sun. While in another person where that illumination has not taken place, that light is in a lesser degree. It could almost be like a candle, it could be like a lamp, or it could be shining in all its glory. What we want to do is make this mind absolutely pure so that that inner light is experienced and we walk in that light, not in stumble and fall in darkness of ignorance. And that light is within us. It's ours. It is our divine birthright. No one can take it from us. The question is, how do we access it? No one else can do that for us also. At the physical level, people can give us some food and things. At a mental level, the teachers and education can give us some knowledge in there. But no one can give you that light of consciousness. No one needs to give it. It is yours. Somebody can help you in that process, give you some guidance to remove that darkness of ignorance. That is where scriptures, teachers, they come and tell us, do this, do this, do this. And as you practice those things, the inner power awakens. Everyone can lift 100 kilogram of weight. You might say, I can't do that now. But people say, wait, there's a system and a technique. You go into a gymnasium, find a good instructor who will work out a particular program and follow those instructions, not one day or twice, but if you can take good food, take good rest, and systematically, regularly practice this program for 1 year, I can assure you by the end of the year you'll be strong enough to lift that weight. That strength is there, but it needs an exercise to manifest itself. Likewise, that spiritual strength is there behind every mind, but it requires an exercise to manifest that. Without that exercise, we will not discover that. Meditation, japa, spiritual disciplines are various exercises by which the inner strength of the Atman shines through these various layers. Without that exercise, that power will not manifest. That is why we do this abhyasa, repeatedly practicing. And it's not that from 0 level to 100 kilograms you'll pick up one fine day. No, you will gradually begin to increase your strength. So as you practice meditation, you will find that inner strength is gathering momentum. No one else has to come and tell you that you are becoming stronger. You will feel that strength within us. Likewise, as you practice meditation, you will feel that the degree of calmness, balance and poise and that inner alertness, some degree of purity and holiness, all those divine qualities will begin to glow from within you. And you will feel that impact. And that is the incentive to go deeper and deeper until we realize that we don't have any of these three bodies, neither the gross body, nor the mental body or the causal body. Actually, the Atman is bodiless. It's a no body. But we are all trying to be somebody. We have to reverse the process and abide in that Atman nature where it's infinite existence, infinite knowledge, infinite bliss, eternal and immortal. That is the ultimate goal of meditation. So I hope you will practice this. Practice makes perfect. The more you practice, that's the proof of the cake is in eating it. And we can talk about, like I say, describe honey in so many ways, but you will never understand it without putting a bit of honey on the tongue and tasting it. We can talk all about meditation and mental control and everything, but it's only when you practice it regularly that you'll begin to feel that awakening of that power. Let us pray through the divine within us, in all of us, to attract this mind towards itself, endow it with its energy, enthusiasm, and vitality, and attract us like a moth is attracted to a flame, so that this mind is restrained from going outside and reverts to its eternal source, wherein alone we can find that infinite peace that surpasseth all understanding, as Christ explains in the Holy Bible. We will see you next Sunday. Enjoy your next Saturday. Enjoy your meditations. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ram Krishna